this is Aromie here, and welcome back to Red Embrace Hollywood. We are here with Markus. I am gonna choose whatever's in store for me. I'm ready for it, Markus. Oh, is he shook? You most certainly are not, but I applaud your enthusiasm nonetheless. What if I am? Not really, I'm not. No, I'm not. Then after clapping his hands together, he offered his arm to me. Come then, sister, no need for further ceremony. You and I will walk arm in arm until the path splits. Take his arm, stare his arm. Can we just be arm in arm in the figurative sense? No, I'm taking his arm. Free arm. Take his arm. When I looped my arm around his own, Markus nodded once, leading me away from the counter. Where are we going, though? Oh, God, I gotta censor this. He began to stroll idly along the shelves, guiding me through a maze of lewd displays. Among all the standard videos and toys, I noticed a few unusual things tucked away. Foreboding black boots, not books. Black books, miniature Greek busts, even stacks of sheet music. They didn't look designed to be stuffed inside an orifice, so they were probably just decorative. Now that I am officially your mentor, I prefer the term companion, even if it makes me sound like a high-class escort. I have a question for you. Markus addressed me airily as we walked along, the candlelight flickering in his sunglasses. It's quite important, you see, to understand the most powerful emotion within all of us. Fear. Oh, he purred out the word with obvious delight. Okay. I really hate your shop, Markus. When I paused to give him a questioning look, Markus studied me from the corner of one glowing blue eye. I'm sorry you're not going to see any of this dialogue because I had to censor what this is like showing in the freaking dialogue box. So tell me, Michiko, even if it's only an echo at the bottom of your spirit, what do you fear most in the new life forced upon you? Losing my purpose, not having a goal. I'm afraid of not understanding it. My nature is a vampire, I think. Being lonely, isolated from everyone. I think loneliness, because if I was turned into a vampire and like stripped away from everybody, I would probably feel very alone. I don't like being alone all the time at all, actually. I would like if someone's there with me. Ah, loneliness, that plague that runs us all, even those who supposedly hate the rest of mankind. He offered me a thin, sardonic smile just in his sunglasses, but loneliness is a beast of many faces and desires, even if they all mask a single need. Just what do you seek to assuage this loneliness you fear approaching you? Some kind of companionship, someone who understands me. Love maybe, if I can find it. And I'm not sure, really. I just want someone with me, though. Like this. But it doesn't... So is this not counting as love? This sounds like love to me. But apparently not if they offer you a love choice. Companionship, I guess, is like friendship. I guess. Love? No, I really want the companionship. But I want him to know I want love. Love maybe if I can find it. A very textbook scary answer, but I suppose you are what you are. Markus murmured good-naturedly, offering a small shrug. Do be careful with your love, sister. Too little or too much can be toxic and spoil the fine balance of the pot. After a thoughtful pause, Markus abruptly swirled to face me, his coat fluttering through the air. Hello? Are you giving me love right now? It's like I wish, and then he gives me my wish. He inhaled deeply, nodding to himself in a sagely fashion. It looked like he had some kind of revelation, or else he was about to say something particularly important. Yes, this is the right place and the right time, isn't it? What? Are you gonna, like, kill me now? Markus muttered under his breath, his voice low and ominous. I feel as if I've been waiting so long, waiting for someone just like you, Michiko. Now is the hour when I am most in need, when you came searching, when both our souls were destined to begin this great journey. You must take your first step onwards down the terrible path towards a grand and dangerous future. By organizing my shelves. Motherfucker. Did you just hire me as a worker? He patted one of those cases of obscene merchandise beside us. The various rubbery shapes wiggled like stacks of pudding, only more phallic. This new shipment arrived just earlier, and I hadn't had a chance to line them up in an eye-catching fashion. Thanks heavens you manifested when you did, my little savior. Well, that's not where I expected things to end up. Right, I'm on it, figuratively speaking. Are you actually asking me to rearrange your sex toys? How is this helping me? I'm asking about the... Are you sure? Are you really asking me? Heavens no, sister. They're not my toys. Why? Why, that would be downright unsanitary. I am merely sending you out on your soul-searching quest with a trial of body and spirit, which I find to be perfectly reasonable. He gave my head a gentle pat, then swept his arm invitingly towards the shelves. Make sure to organize them creatively, from the little tickler to that behemoth creation that promises to make your gases, explosions silent for life. What? What's that modern phrase? Ah, yes, like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. That's it. Oh, that's not cool. God damn it. And so, without really having any say in the matter, I spent my third night as a vampire organizing dildos. I couldn't tell if Markus was making me do this for his own amusement or if he genuinely believed it was important somehow. With anyone else, it would have easily been the former, but with Markus, who could really say? He helpfully offered to supervise my work, which meant occasionally putting down his newspaper to come judge my progress. Each time he critiqued my organization, asking why I lined the paddles a certain way, or why I put the whole hammer beside the turkey stuffer. But despite how frustrating his constant remarks were, I started to realize he wasn't doing it out of sadism. Pure sadism, anyway. Sadism? Sadism? How do you pronounce that word? He kept giving me questions that made me pause and think, even if they seemed completely trivial or much too obvious. Markus didn't seem to care how I replied either, as long as I came up with a confident answer. Eventually, as the shows grew more creative and interesting, Markus started to look more satisfied. 2. That expression was always the easiest to read on his face. It mirrored the complacent look of a well-fed, contented cat. Finally, something I don't have to censor. Ring, ring! I glanced up from the last shelf to see Markus reaching beneath the counter, pulling out an ancient-looking phone. Yes, this is Blood and Roses, Den of Depravity, Carnival of Carnality, and Booty Boutique. Booty Boutique! How may I help you? His gaze abruptly flicked over to meet mine. Why, hello. Yes, she's here. Oh, Charisse. Yes. Yes, I know, but... Markus lowered his head slightly, exhaling a quiet sigh. One day, perhaps. Alright, I won't worry for her then. Goodbye. What? Lowering the receiver from his ear, he slowly returned it to the base. Should I say something? Was I eavesdropping? Talking about me? We were, yes. Something you should get accustomed to in this city, I believe. What about, though? Clearing his throat loudly and deliberately, Markus strode back over to me. The call seemed to have dampened his mood a little, but his eyes soon started to gleam again. Well, well, well. He peered at the rows of merchandise I'd laid out, grinning smugly. Since you've done such astounding work, perhaps I should ask Charisse to station you here regularly. My shelves don't restock themselves, after all. Please, no. I can't think of anything possibly more enjoyable. Wherever the path leads me, it was kind of fun, actually. I don't know. I mean, being around Markus is very enjoyable. I'm not gonna be like, wherever the path leads me. That's too much. I can't think of anything possibly more enjoyable. Keep up that attitude, and I may even let you pet the peacock next time. No, that is not a euphemism. You have an actual peacock somewhere? For a few moments, Markus smiled at me in silence, observing my face curiously. This music's also new. I've never heard of this one. Maybe. Or did it just like fade into each other and just sounded different? It felt like he was judging my reaction, or maybe scanning me for something in particular. Oh well. As they say, time always flies when you're having fun. Time has indeed flown, making it about the hour for me to close, I'm afraid. There wasn't any hastiness in his voice, but I could tell Markus was gently trying to excuse himself. However, our next encounter lies close on the horizon, that much I can promise you. Until then, I trust you will take tonight's lesson to heart. Yes, along with the nightmares about the anal Armageddon 3000. I feel like I learned something, but I don't really know what. What were tonight's lessons supposed to be exactly? I'm gonna go with the yes. The AA 3K, not for the faint of heart, nor faint of rear. He speaks like my friend Zach. One day, perhaps you will come to appreciate him in his majesty. Markus's wiry shoulders lifted in a shrug, his reply completely deadpan. Do enjoy the remainder of the evening, Michiko. After that job, it's only down here from here. Wow, rude. I'll see you around, Markus. With the last flicker of a smile, Markus sauntered back among the shelves, his footsteps silent on the carpet. He seemed to be slipping away into thought, maybe from the phone call he had gotten earlier. Was it a bad phone call? Still feeling caught up in the night's unusual turn of events, I made my way towards the exit. Oh, excuse me, darling. Oh! I forgot her name. She's gonna be my pet in this route, because I made David my pet last route. And in Heath's route, I didn't have any pet. When I opened the door, a short, eye-catchingly dressed woman was on the other side. Yes? After curiously examining my face for a few moments, she wiggled her fingers at me and hurried inside. A regular customer, maybe. Or was she one of Marcus's friends? Either way, something about her seemed faintly unusual, although I couldn't pinpoint exactly what. I left the shop without further interruptions, just as two muffled voices began to chatter inside. I spent the rest of the night mingling with mortals, curious about my new skills. Immediately I noticed that people treated me in a different way. No matter what I said, it seemed much easier to persuade them, like my words had a magical effect. And sometimes when I made eye contact with a nearby human, they started to look almost mesmerized. Was this part of my power? But as I toyed with my persuasive talents, I noticed something unsettling. Every time I tried to charm someone, I lost all sense of self for a split second. It was like I only existed through their eyes in their world, and my heart felt like an empty, hollow shell. I'd have to be careful with my abilities, because if I strained them too hard, that disturbing feeling might stick in my mind permanently. Finally, I began heading back to the hotel. A fresh hunger stirred in my gut. Sunrise was still an hour off, so I could feed from a human if I wanted to. Sure, drink from a human, because that's the only choice I didn't do yet. There was no point struggling against my instincts. If animals hunted in the wild, then I could hunt in the streets. It was only natural. I've never done this though, so it's kind of weird. Well, we fed off David, but this is like just randomly finding someone. After a short search, I found a woman just outside a restaurant's back exit, probably leaving her shift. She looked baffled as I pulled her aside, but once I sank my fangs into her neck, I'm like pinpointing her area and then just knocking her out with my fingers. Her confusion faded into a mindless bliss. With a pleasant warmth now tingling inside me, I left her sitting in a daze by the door, where she'd probably soon be discovered. By the time I returned to my hotel room, settling in for the night, everything was beginning to feel more natural. It was still bizarre to think I'd been turned into a blood-sucking pretty corpse, but I realized something important. My house didn't have to define my nature. Although my scarred blood reflected my personality, I didn't need to conform to it. I followed my mind and desires and do what I wanted, not just what my blood wanted me to do. As morning crept closer and I curled up on the bed to hide away from the sun, I resolved to keep that promise. After all, undead or not, the week wouldn't last long in Hollywood. The night sky flickered past outside my car. Excuse me. Past outside my car window, its stars almost invisible through all the light pollution. I was on my way to South Los Angeles, courtesy of Sharice's driver. He never said a word, which was slightly unnerving, but the circumstances didn't really lend themselves to small talk. Only a few days ago, Markus and I had taken this same sedan to the Hollywood Heights Hotel, and now here I was riding it again, rolled out like a bowling ball for Sharice's fingertips. Unlike my previous mission, I hadn't been given a lot to go on. All I knew was a description of Sharice's agent, a Latina, sky blood, gray suit with blue shirt, appeared in her mid-30s. She'd gone missing a few days ago, and even though Sharice said the agent usually took lengthy vacations, I had a bad feeling about this. A bad feeling. I'm sleepy. Before long, the sedan pulled over to a seemingly random point on the street. Of course, the driver didn't say anything, but I could guess that this was my drop-off point. I left the car for the streets of South LA, wondering how exactly to start my search. Asking around wouldn't be a bad idea, though most of the people passing by looked pretty unsavory. I could also try to track her down myself, if there was any traces left of her scent. My best bet was probably to go watch a movie. But anyway, this is where I'm actually going to end today's episode off. I don't even know if I should try these options, because we've tried it before and they didn't actually lead us to the correct path. It was to ask around for info, which was the correct choice. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.